The best way to get acquainted with the Western pitch organization system is to picture a piano keyboard. Pitch classes in the Western system are given letter names. We have C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So it's A through G, but we often start on C, and we'll figure out why in a minute. Now, once you get back to the beginning, you actually have gone through an octave. So C up here and C down here are an octave apart, and then it just continues on. So here we have 2 full octaves on the piano keyboard. Now, these notes, or these letters, are actually each a step away from the next letter, right? So C to D is a step, D to E is a step, E to F is a step, etc. However, the steps are not all the same size. We have whole steps and half steps, otherwise known as tones and semitones. All adjacent letters are a whole step away from each other except for 2. E to F is a half step. Notice that there's no black key here in between the E and F keys. And B to C is a half step. All other adjacent letters are a whole step apart. So from C to C, we have 5 whole steps, C to D, D to E, F to G, G to A, and A to B, and then 2 half steps, E to F and B to C, making a total of 6 whole steps in an octave. Since the smallest interval that we talk about is a half step, not a whole step, that means that we have 12 different notes in each octave. The octave is divided into 12 half steps, which are, relatively speaking, equal in size. Now, what about those keys on the piano that are in between these letters? Well, they are either a sharp version of the lower note or a flat version of the higher note. So this key is C sharp or D flat. So that's how you can take these letter names, these white keys, and move them up or down by a half step by adding a sharp or a flat. So Western music, of course, when notated on a 5-line staff, let's use a treble clef here, doesn't necessarily show which steps are half steps and whole steps. You have to just kind of know. So if I write here all of the non-accidental notes, right, no sharps or flats, from C up to C, we're going to know that from E to F is a half step and B to C is a half step. And all of the other adjacent intervals are whole steps. This series of notes sounds like this. This is called the C major scale. A major scale is a set of notes within an octave. It's a scale, right? A set of pitch classes within an octave that has a specific sequence of whole and half steps. Specifically, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Now, when we start on any other note besides C, we can recreate that series of whole and half steps to get a major scale based on a different note. So if we start instead on D, we're going to have to change some things to make sure that the whole and half steps work out. So D to E is a whole step. Nothing needed there. We need another whole step, but E to F is a half step. So we're going to put a sharp in front of the F to make the F an F sharp instead of, right? Now, F sharp to G is a half step, so we're good there. G to A is a whole step. A to B is a whole step. B to C, is a half step. We need to raise the C again to become a C sharp, and then we have it. So this is the D major scale. Now, it's definitely a good idea to memorize this sequence of whole and half steps, but I think that the easiest way to think about a major scale is to chunk it into 2 chunks, the first 5 notes and then the last 4 notes, and they're going to intersect on this note here. And you notice that both of these sets start with whole, whole, half. So there's whole, whole, half, and the first one is going to go another whole. And then you have, right? It's like the Addams family twice. And that can really kind of get you to remember what a major scale sounds and feels like. So for example, if you want to write an E flat major scale, you're going to think, well, E flat, we need whole, half, and so we need an A flat, and then that whole to complete your first 5 notes, da 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 dum, and then from there you're gonna go whole, half up, da 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 dum, and then that's E flat major. I'm gonna use a capital M here, right? And then even weird notes here. Let's go into bass clef for fun, like F sharp major. That's a hard scale because it's gonna have a whole lot of sharps, but you're just gonna kind of think whole, half, whole, and then whole, half. And then, so that's how you're going to think about writing major scales in Western notation.